It's time for a Humans in Tune conversation with Darren on 93.9 Mike FM.
Hey, it's Darren with you, 93.9 Mike FM. We are live on Facebook for another Humans in Tune session, whatever we want to call it today. It is the 4th of September, and September is Suicide Prevention Month. Today, my guest is Michelle Ramsey, who I have apparently named Felipe Brito, but I'm going to fix that right now, Michelle. But welcome to the studio. I hope you're doing well today. We got a lot to talk about. And before we dig in, though, Michelle, you're with the Community Counseling Center Foundation. Let's give them the 10,000-foot view of what the Community Counseling Center does for our area here.
Unique clients each year.
That is a lot of clients, 7,000 to 8,000. And, you know, in these 5 counties, we think, you know, in just our small area, that is a lot of area to cover, especially as we look at how rural and how spread out we are. Mm-hmm. So you guys have a full-time job all day, every day, dealing with what you deal with. And it's, you know, today we're talking about suicide prevention because it is that month. And I'd like to thank you for the shirt. I'm rocking my brand new Hope, Hold On, Pains End Suicide Prevention Awareness shirt. Thank you for that.
Of course. You're welcome.
You guys are doing some efforts here as this month rolls through to really bring that prevalence to suicide prevention, the awareness of, you know, the steps a person can take, whether on one side of the coin or the other. Right off the bat, you know, to those who are on the side of the coin where suicide has been something they've contemplated or have been thinking about or have had those dark thoughts. Right off the bat, you know, that 988 number is available to reach out. There are people ready to talk 24/7.
There are, and the 988 is statewide, so it goes to a referral partner within your location.
Right.
So if someone were to call from Cape, we would be the ones that get that alert. But you can call, you can chat, you can text. I mean, it couldn't be any easier, and sometimes all it really takes is just talking through what's going on to make you realize, okay, this isn't worth not being here tomorrow.
Yes.
So it's such an important message, and it needs to be said year-round, but especially in Suicide Prevention Month, we want to focus heavy on that.
It's without a question a 12-month focus. And, I mean, you know, specifically, you know, September is the month designated for it, but suicides happen all the time. We see it with seasonal affective disorder when we get into the holidays. I know I lost one of my best friends from childhood right before Christmas several years back. And it's hard because us on the other side of the coin are like, oh, why didn't he call? Or why didn't I get a chance to talk to him? Or gosh, if I'd have just ran into him, right? And so you guys are doing some classes now through your Question, Persuade, Refer training. We're going to call that QPR. Question, Persuade, Refer. I started to say prefer. You're doing classes in each county that you serve, and these are free to attend. It's not an all-day thing. You're not, you know, dedicating. You don't have to go nuts here. But this is a great way for somebody to come in, and just like you would for a CPR class or a first aid responder class, same kind of concept. So let's talk a little bit more about the QPR training.
Yeah, so the QPR training, you know, it just gives people a set of tools. And it's kind of like you said, like CPR. You never know when you might need it. And this just gives you ways to recognize warning signs, ways to get someone to open up if you notice that they're maybe not acting themselves, and then options to be able to help refer them to a professional so that they can get the help. It's not putting that burden on you, but it would at least make you know I am a little bit more educated.
Your radar's tuned in.
Right. You're not just fumbling because I can just speak as a parent. You know, if I noticed things, and I'm probably a little more attuned just because of where I work, but if I notice things, behaviors or whatever, I'm really not sure what the right answers are or how to start the conversation. That's an awkward thing. Or even a spouse. I mean, how do you say, I mean, how serious is this? What are you thinking about?
That's a breach, right?
Because you want to like tiptoe around it, and this empowers you. And I think that's the best thing. So yeah, we are doing those. They're in all 5 counties. We've got a calendar. It's online that people can look at. But there's a day option and an evening option each of those days.
Right.
And
it starts today with Cape County.
It does. It does. It's at the Cape Public Library today from 1 to 3 or 5 to 7 tonight.
Yep.
And you get a book. The foundation has provided the training materials and the books for the class. And our educators are there to make everybody feel a little more comfortable with the subject.
Absolutely. And, when we talk about, who needs to come to this, really it's for everybody. I mean, community counseling center employees have professional training in these kind of things. Law enforcement a lot of times have professional training in these sort of things. But this is a good refresher for them as well. And this is a good, sometimes they get so wrapped up in the details, you might forget that base level stuff that really does put it on the radar.
Exactly.
So it's a good refresher for them, and it's a great informational class for the rest of us. I encourage you to do it. Again, today, September 4th, it's for Cape County here at the Cape County Public Library, Cape Girardeau Public Library, from 1 to 3 or 5 to 7. And the next one's coming up at Perry County. So you got Perry, Madison, Bollinger, and St. John scheduled out through the rest of the month. And again, cccntr.com is the website if you want to go and check out more about those classes.
Right.
But again, they're free. It's free training. The materials are free. Everything is free. Just your time, and well worth the investment of that time as you consider everything in life. So.
Absolutely. We all waste 2 hours in a week.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, why not get that information and just have it? You just never know. It could be a coworker. It could be, somebody in your own household that you just don't know how to start the conversation.
And at the end of the day, for me, that to me is okay, now I'm empowered to start this conversation. Maybe then you don't have that regret of, gosh, what if I'd known what to say, or, those kind of things. So,
right.
Really good information there. And, again, like I said, we're doing lots of things this month. Something else you guys have going is the Pinwheel Project.
Yeah.
This is a really cool project, and let's talk a little more about that. And this is something you as the community will see and observe and can participate in as well.
That's right. So it's a somber display, but it's one that can also give a little bit of warmth to a very sad subject. And we have the opportunity. It's all over our website. You can go on to cccntr.com, and you'll have a pop-up. It's a ribbon, and you have the opportunity to put a ribbon in a loved one, friend, family member, just a neighbor that you maybe lost to suicide. And as the month progresses, in each of our 5 counties, we will have a visual display. A pinwheel will represent each ribbon that we've collected.
Right.
And, it's not a happy thing.
No.
But it's a very poignant point for people to see and visualize, and that's right here in our counties. And I think that's the big thing. This isn't a national number, and I do have some of those numbers, but
when you look at it here locally, and as you mentioned, you've got 5 counties you serve. If you want to put a name on one of these pinwheels, I've done it this morning myself, and you can go in there, and if you want it to display in a certain county, you want it in Perry County, you can pick that out of the drop down, and you guys will honor that. And you're right. It is a poignant display because it reminds us, again, on a grassroots local level, this is how suicide has impacted just our community.
Right.
And that's obviously not everybody that's committed suicide is represented there.
Yeah.
The numbers are ugly.
They are
when it comes down to
and it's just it's real talk. I mean, this is real, and I think a lot of times until you're impacted by the loss of a loved one or a friend, a childhood friend, neighbor, whatever the case may be, I think until you're faced with that, you kind of tune it out.
You do. And to be candid, I think a lot of us are, when we hear the term suicide or we're jaded, there's victim blaming that goes on there. I mean, it's a tense subject to talk about, when it comes down to it. People, every emotion comes out when suicide comes to the top of the cream. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so we're angry, we're sad, we have, that's where it stops, right? You can't ask again. You can't talk to them. You can't reason with them. You can't do anything there, but remember them.
Right.
And so as we drive and we see these pinwheels and we see this display, remember that every single one of those was a human that somebody loved, somebody cared about, and somebody misses dearly today because they chose to take their own life.
Exactly.
And we've all had dark moments. I mean, God knows I've had mine, and I'm happy to say that I'm not in that place anymore. But if you have been or are in that place, God, there's so many good resources out there that can show you how much is worth living for.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So this, and again, these will be in all the counties. Here in Cape County, it's going to be located next to your office.
Yes, out on the corner of Bloomfield and Silver Springs, there will be a display. Bollinger County, it'll be in front of Harps. Madison County, in front of the Depot restaurant. And St. John, it's at the MRV Bank.
Okay.
And I believe Perry County is at the Perry Park Center.
Sure.
That one may be wrong, but that's, I think, the
but
last
you'll
I
see
heard.
it. And if you're out in Perryville, and hopefully you'll head to cccntr.com, hit the website, get your own pinwheel ribbon where appropriate, and get that set up. And then you can go check out the display yourself as that time comes around. And those are going to be put out, again, throughout the month.
Right. We're giving everybody an opportunity. We've had them out, but we will have a booth at the fair that will have a paper ribbon that they can put their loved one's name on. So we're giving it a little time. I believe like the last 2 weeks of the month is when it's going to be displayed.
Sure. Yeah, that makes sense. Perfect. So that's going on. And again, hit the website. You'll see that pop up right away, and you'll be able to put a name on that and participate there as well. One of the things you mentioned earlier was, when we talked about the QPR training, was about, the first responders and their training to do it and some of the things that they deal with. You guys have a podcast on YouTube. One of those conversations that folks can check out is with one of these Leos that dealt directly with suicide prevention to the point that he prevented a man from jumping off the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah.
And the podcast is interesting because it's both sides of the coin there. You've got the officer who saved him. You've got the guy who was saved.
Right.
And what an impactful story that is.
It is. So we have had the opportunity to do a interview with Sergeant Kevin Briggs, who is a retired California Highway Patrol, and his beat was the Golden Gate Bridge. Yeah. And he, over the years, actually talked so many people down that he became known as the Golden Bridge Guardian, or the Guardian of the Golden Bridge.
Right.
And so he actually was able to talk Kevin Berthia off of the bridge in 2005 when Kevin was 22. And 8 years after that, they reunited. And so they both, after Kevin Briggs, we call it the Kevins because
the Kevins,
two Kevins. So after Briggs retired, he dedicated his time and life basically to suicide prevention because he was so impacted by all of the people that lost their battles, but also the ones that touched his life. And so it's just a really amazing story for them to come together, and they do a lot of together presentations, but they both have their own separate missions as well that they do these speaking engagements. So it's a really good interview, and it's called The Power of Listening. And aside from the entertainment factor or the touching story of it, there's a lot of good messaging in there that we can all take and employ in our lives.
Absolutely. And to speak to that reunion 8 years after the fact, I mean, you imagine somebody saves your life and you move on, you get better, you do things better for your life, you improve yourself, and then 8 years later, here's the guy that kept you from ending it all. And how do you even say thank you at that point?
Exactly.
Right? I mean, golly, that's it's overwhelming. So that is available on the CCC YouTube channel.
Yes.
Go out there and find that. I'm sure that is linked on the website as well.
It is, and I can just say the YouTube channel name is CMO Community Counseling Center. There is another community counseling center on there that's in another place, and so we had to put the CMO in front of it.
The miracles of digital fingerprints.
And in addition to this messaging, there are a lot of really good videos. Each month we do whatever the topic is, so there's been a lot over
we had
the
mental
last
health
year.
awareness back in May.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so we bring in sometimes it's a client that wants to share their story. Sometimes it's workers. It's a really good resource for people to refer to.
Yeah. And for anybody to reach.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So again, lots of activities happening this month throughout the month of September. September is not just Suicide Prevention Month. We've got a lot of things going on in the month of September, as we do most months, but it is also National Recovery Month.
It is.
And you guys, I'm an artsy guy. I'm a musician, and I can't draw or paint worth a crud. That's my daughter's forte. But You guys are doing some cool stuff with art, and let's talk a little bit about that and how that ties in.
Okay. So September is National Recovery Month, and it's a time dedicated to promoting and supporting individuals in their journeys to overcome substance use and mental health challenges. And so we know that art is a good therapeutic activity that very much helps people maintain their mental health, but also express themselves and work through some of their traumas. And, you know, it's not something that you can just sit down and do. A lot of times you have to practice it. And so we know that a lot of our clients actually really gain a lot from art. And we have a gentleman, Mike Mills, who handles our art program. And initially, a long time ago, the gallery that we had was down on Main Street, and right before COVID, they condemned the building. And so we moved it, and we were going to do something with it, but we just never really got it going. And then we hired Mike. And so now he has a space. And so the clients that are in Cape can go to our gallery and actually take classes, and he puts out a calendar, and all of that information is available. But through a grant that the foundation did, we ended up employing him to do art in all 5 counties. So he goes in and works with our PSR clients, with our kiddos at Cottonwood, and they do projects. So now, for this month, we've been able to create an online art gallery. And you don't have to be one of our clients. You can be Darren or Darren's daughter.
You could be me.
You could do a selfie picture and draw it, a character or something, and then you can upload that on our gallery, and people can go on and look at it. So it just opened the gallery did, and so that is a place where people can go to show how art is helping them in their lives.
That is incredible.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And I think a lot of people, you know, like you said, it's therapeutic, but it's also a sense of expression. And a lot of people express what's going on with their mental health through that art.
Right. Yeah, I'm not that person.
Mine is it scribbles most of my
I
artwork.
letter. I can do that kind of stuff.
There you go. Well, you got one up on me.
I
I'm
could
great in
actually
Photoshop.
take this picture and I could draw that picture.
I could not.
But I cannot take just a white.
It's a nice picture.
I can't take a white canvas and do something because.
That's why it's good you got people like Mike.
Exactly.
Mike's an amazing guy. One of the best beards in Cape Girardeau, if I can say that. You know what I mean? But
and so passionate, and he
is. He loves his art. He loves what he does, and he's such a good teacher, such a great, gentle person. He's like our personal Bob Ross.
Yeah. Yes, he
Mike
is.
Mills, your personal Bob Ross.
He actually just did a Bob Ross series with some of the clients.
Of course he did. That's awesome.
It's really cool. And so one of the fun things, the foundation, we get to help make these programs possible. And so every month he sends us his order of the items that he wants. And we're always like, what on earth is he doing with this? You know, and he's so excited when they come in. He can't wait to get them, and just a great guy. So he is also instructing some art classes throughout this, and they will be videoed and they'll be put up on our YouTube channel as well, so people can enjoy those as well.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's a really well-rounded approach to show the diversity of what the Community Counseling Center is doing, what the foundation is doing, not just in support of suicide prevention and awareness this month, but across the board. Right. You guys have a lot of programs going. It's a lot of fingers everywhere doing a lot of things. and it's like I said, it is tireless work. It is. It really is. And so we appreciate what you do. We appreciate what your crew at the Community Counseling Center does as well. It makes a big impact on our community and a big impact for good. And that's really what I strive to bring with any of these conversations we have, is to just impact with the positive stuff. Suicide is not a positive thing. We don't like to talk about it in a positive light. But what we do want to talk about is, again, your ability on either whether you're having those thoughts of suicide or whether you're having somebody in your family that you're starting to maybe consider those signs showing up and those kind of things. There's great opportunities for you to embrace who you are, embrace people who are willing to help you, and come out of that on the better side.
Yeah, and we know, again, not a happy subject, but it's real. Like I said, real talk. And so just one little statistic here, every 11 minutes, an American takes their life.
Yeah, it's tragic. And it's It's every walk of life. It's every color. It's every race. It's vets. It's not vets. It's teenagers. It's kids that listen to pop music. It's kids that listen to rap music.
Yeah.
Every single person in this country, this affects them. So, again, 988. Call if you find yourself in that position. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. Don't think they don't care. They do care. They do absolutely care. And they're ready to talk.
And so the Community Counseling Center, we have about 480 employees.
Wow.
Across the 5 counties. And I think the biggest thing, I mean, we're focused on suicide prevention, but we are here all the time. And our goal is to not only be a treatment, but a wellness resource in the community where people can go if they need help with
preventative
X.
and not just reactive.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the big takeaway. And of course, Suicide Prevention Month it's a powerful month, and there's a lot we can do, and we all just need to do our part.
That's it. Amen. Step up, help out where you can. Be a nice human. That is definitely it. Get signed up for these classes, okay, guys? If you're in Cape today and you can swing it, get over to the Cape Public Library between 1 and 3 or 5 and 7 this evening. And again, CCC NTR is their main website. Pop over there. Check out all the things they've got going on that we've talked about today for Suicide Prevention Month and for Recovery Month. And continue to support the CCC. Share those social media posts they put out. Share those YouTube videos. You never know when your friend that you didn't think about for the last year and a half, but their buddies on Facebook, just happened to see in the magical algorithm today that you shared that YouTube video about the cop and the guy on the bridge.
Yeah.
And they saw that, and that made a difference. You never know how you can impact somebody with those kind of things.
Exactly.
So, Michelle, thank you for coming in today.
Thank you.
I encourage you guys, again, search for the resources. They've got lots of flyers out. Like you can find everything right there on the website. And again, thanks again for coming in.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
You bet. It's another Human in Tune segment on 93.9 Mike FM. I am Darren Bergfeld. Thank you for tuning in. You can catch these after the fact on our podcast at 939mikefm.com/podcast or wherever you listen on Apple Music, Spotify, etc. For Michelle, I'm Darren. Thanks for hanging out. We'll catch you on the next Humans in Tune on Mike FM.
Thanks for catching this Humans in Tune conversation with 93.9 Mike FM. Find previous interviews on our Facebook page, or you can listen via our podcast at 939mikefm.com.